You ever look at people who memorize entire textbooks, formulas, dates, definitions, and you're just sitting there like, bro, how? Did they download the information into their brains or what? Meanwhile, you're rereading the same paragraph for the fifth time like an NPC, and none of it is entering your head. You're highlighting random lines, hoping your brain magically absorbs it. You watch TikTok for study hacks, waste 3 hours, then convince yourself you're being productive because you changed your wallpaper to something motivational. Pathetic. But listen closely, because you're about to stop memorizing like a confused goldfish. The truth is, you're not bad at memorizing. You've just been doing it in the dumbest way possible. That's why information falls out of your brain the second you stand up from your desk. But today, I'm giving you the exact system to memorize insanely fast. So fast you'll feel like you're cheating the entire education system. If you actually follow what I'm about to tell you, you'll remember things weeks, even months later without even trying, while everyone else is still struggling to remember what they studied yesterday. But if you skip steps, do it halfway, or try to study your own way, congratulations, you'll stay stuck in the slow lane forever. Now pay attention. Here's the first thing you need to understand. Memorization isn't about repeating something until your brain cries for help. It's about how the information is delivered to your brain. Your brain is lazy. It doesn't remember boring things. It remembers meaning, novelty, connections, emotion, imagery, and story. So when you sit there rereading a page 10 times, you are literally feeding your brain cardboard. Stop doing that. Instead, you're going to convert everything you study into something your brain can't ignore. Something that sticks. And I'm going to show you how to do that step by step. Let's start with the biggest mistake students make when trying to memorize. They try to shove everything into their brain at once. That's like trying to swallow a whole loaf of bread in one bite. No wonder you choke on it. The secret to memorizing fast is to break down information into the absolute smallest meaningful chunks. Not sentences. Not paragraphs. Chunks. Your brain memorizes pieces, not paragraphs. So the first thing you're going to do is scan what you're learning and break it into tiny, digestible ideas. If you're learning biology, one chunk might be a definition. Another chunk might be a process. Another chunk might be a diagram. If it's history, a chunk might be the cause of an event, the date, the key figure, the outcome. Stop treating content like one big monster. Cut it into pieces so your brain can actually handle it. This alone will make you learn faster than half the people in your class. Once you have your chunks, here's where the magic starts. For every single chunk, you're going to ask your brain one simple question. How do I make this unforgettable? Don't memorize the words. Memorize the meaning. Convert the chunk into the simplest, clearest explanation you can possibly make, like you're explaining it to a 6-year-old, or your pet, or that one friend who thinks Wi-Fi comes from the ground. When you force yourself to explain things like this, your brain creates deep connections, and deep connections are impossible to forget. If you can't explain it like that, you don't understand it. And if you don't understand it, you can't memorize it. Understanding creates memory. Always. Now here's the part that will actually make you memorize so fast people will think you're cheating. After you simplify the chunk, you're going to attach imagery to it. And I'm not talking about cute little pictures. I mean absurd, exaggerated, dramatic imagery. Why? Because your brain loves things that are weird, emotional, funny, dangerous, exaggerated, or completely ridiculous. If you need to memorize that mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, don't just say it. Picture a literal gym inside a cell where ripped mitochondria are lifting weights while screaming powerhouse. If you need to memorize a math formula, turn it into a weird scene, like the numbers chasing each other in a hallway. If you're learning history, imagine the historical figure doing something insanely out of character. You will never forget what you can visualize. And the crazier the image, the faster and longer it sticks. This is how memory champions memorize hundreds of random numbers in minutes. They turn everything into memorable images. And now, so will you. But don't stop there. The fastest memorizers on the planet also use something called active recall. Active recall basically means you stop babying your brain and force it to work. After you understand a chunk and turn it into an image, you close your notes and try to recall it. Not reread. Recall. Your brain should struggle. Struggle is good. Struggle is where memory forms. The more your brain works to pull information out, the deeper that memory goes. People who reread and highlight are basically massaging their brain. People who actively recall are training their brain. Guess which one wins? Now here's where things get even more insane. You're going to combine active recall with spaced repetition. Remembering something once means nothing. Remembering something over time means everything. So here's how you space your memorization so it sticks forever. The first recall is right after you learn the chunk. The second recall is 10 minutes later. The third recall is 1 hour later. Then 3 hours later. Then before you sleep. Then the next day. Then 3 days later. Then 1 week later. Do this, and you will forget nothing. I'm not exaggerating. This timeline is how your brain locks information long-term. But if you try to memorize all at once and hope it sticks, you're just setting yourself up for failure. Space your reviews. Now let's talk about something almost no one explains. Your environment affects your memory more than you think. If you study in a chaotic, noisy, uncomfortable place, your brain associates the information with stress. Stress kills memorization. So you're going to create a study zone that signals to your brain, okay, it's time to focus. Keep it clean. Keep it simple. Keep it consistent. And for the love of everything, stop studying on your bed unless you want to fall asleep mid-sentence like a confused toddler. Now, here's one of my favorite memory hacks that will feel like straight-up cheating. After you memorize a chunk using active recall and imagery, teach it. I don't care if you teach it to your mirror, your pillow, your cat, your imaginary audience. I don't care. Teaching is the ultimate memorization tool. When you teach something, you're forced to organize the information, explain it clearly, and retrieve it in real time. That's a triple hit to your memory. If you can teach it, you know it. If you can't teach it, you don't. It's that simple. And here's another thing. Stop jumping between topics like you're scrolling TikTok. Your brain can't handle that much switching. When you switch topics every 5 minutes, your brain resets and you lose everything you just learned. Focus on one topic, one chunk at a time. Master it, recall it, review it, move on. That's how smart people study. Dumb people multitask. Don't be dumb. Let's talk about the myth everyone believes. The idea that some people just have good memory, and you don't. Wrong. They just use techniques. They don't memorize word for word like you do. They create structure in their brain. They understand. They connect. They picture. They recall. They repeat. That's it. That's the whole secret. And now it's your secret too. So let me walk you through exactly what your memorization session should look like so you stop messing it up. You start with a topic. Break it into chunks. Explain each chunk in simple language. Visualize it with crazy imagery. Recall it immediately. Review it after 10 minutes. Review it after an hour. Teach it. Review it before bed. And then review it the next day. That's how you memorize fast. That's how you memorize permanently. That's how you stop being the person who remembers nothing unless it's their favorite song lyrics. You want another cheat code? Sleep. I'm serious. You think you can memorize without sleeping? Good luck. Sleep is when your brain takes the information you studied and locks it into long-term memory. If you pull an all-nighter, everything you memorized evaporates. Sleep is part of studying. If you skip it, you're sabotaging yourself. Here's another trick. Write things down from memory. Not notes. Not copying. From memory. Writing forces your brain to process information deeply. It's slow, but that's why it works. When you write something from memory, you burn it into your brain. This is why people remember things better when they handwrite instead of typing. Writing forces you to think. Thinking forces you to remember. And if you really want to take your memory skills to insane levels, start using memory palaces. This is an advanced technique, but even beginners can use it. Imagine a place you know well, your house, your school, your street. Then place information inside those locations as mental images. The crazier the image, the better. When you want to recall the information, you walk through the location in your mind. Memory champions use this to memorize thousands of things in minutes. It works because your brain is insanely good at remembering places. If you connect information to places, it sticks like glue. Before I wrap this up, let me tell you the truth about memorization. It's not just about remembering fast. It's about remembering smart. You don't win by memorizing everything. You win by memorizing the right things. So don't waste time trying to memorize useless details. Identify the big ideas, the formulas, the processes, the causes, the outcomes, the high-value stuff, and lock that in first. Then fill in the details. Prioritize or fail. Your choice. Now, if you actually follow everything I just told you, your memory will skyrocket. You won't need to cram. You won't panic before exams. You won't reread things 100 times hoping they magically stick. You'll study once, remember it, and move on with your life. But if you ignore everything and keep doing what you've always done, guess what? You'll keep forgetting everything like always. Don't be that person. Learn properly, memorize properly, and become unstoppable. And if you want to learn the full system, the one that lets you study less while remembering more, then you already know what to do. But for now, stop scrolling, start memorizing, and stop being an idiot.